What's up, y'all? Thank you for tuning in for another episode of I Love My Kids, but I'm your host, Morgan. And with me today, we got Miss Nikki, Mr. Washington, and Tony P. What's up, guys?
What's up? What's
Hey.
up?
What's up?
Hey,
All right. So before we jump into today's topic, we just want to throw it back to some trending topics that we've been seeing online. The first trending topic that we want to get into is Sesame Street or Sesame Neighborhood or whatever
Sesame
they call
Street.
it nowadays.
Sesame World.
Sesame World, right. So for those who may not know, there have been some videos that have surfaced on social media of the Sesame Street characters treating the melanated babies a certain kind of way. They ain't touching them, they bypassing them, they pushing them down, all kind of stuff. So I don't even know where to start on this topic. Y'all just jump in and let me know what y'all think about how this is all playing out.
As it develops, I don't know if y'all heard about this, but the family that y'all saw on the videos, they're actually suing Sesame Place.
Wow.
wasn't like for like a crazy amount they were suing them for too at this point?
Yeah, it's like several $1 million. Which I
Is
mean, I
this
felt
for
like
the baby who fell?
no, this is for the two little black girls that got ignored. That Rosita went no.
Oh,
Yeah, because remember the first video that came out was about the two little girls who write to Rosalia, which I think is actually in itself kind of comical how an Hispanic character all of a sudden now ignoring people. But yeah, she they had ignored her, and I guess the parents felt some type of way, and then all of a sudden all these videos came out, and apparently now we have racist characters out here in these streets.
Right.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I think it's just a crazy situation because it's like I don't know. I grew up going to Sesame Place. Like that was my part of the neighborhood. Like Sesame Place was like less than an hour from where I grew up, so we used to go out there all the time. I don't remember this happening before, so I think it's crazy, but I also feel like, what if Rosalie didn't see her? Like, I don't know if anybody's ever been inside those costumes, but those costumes ain't exactly the most surround sound of costumes that exist.
Those costumes
were not little.
Yeah, those costumes you can definitely see the children, because if you've seen the other children that they went up to, they were able to see those children.
Right.
Yeah. So they can definitely, and they're making these characters walking down like almost like a parade, and so they make it so where they can see all the babies, the children, the ones in the strollers and everything. It was definitely very blatant. And now that people are talking about it, like, let's just say I have something in my phone, I'm like, wow, that happened to me too, but I didn't think to put it online. I just thought to either not go back or talk about it amongst my peers and stuff like that. So that was extremely blatant, period. Even if it was one incident. And they said that where this particular place is, it's not brown friendly. And so you have to think of the demographic in that area and who they're hiring in that area. And if they feel like they don't like people, I'm not going to say people of color, I'm going to say black people. If they don't like black people, they hiring these people in the costumes that don't like black people, you're gonna experience that.
Right.
So I tried to read and peruse through some of the comments on one of the videos. Actually, it was the video with the two little girls, and a comment was made that the reason that the girls were bypassed was because they was calling the character the wrong name. So I'm like, okay, even if that is the case, you're supposed to be a kid-friendly atmosphere. The show is about kids, whether or not they called the character the wrong name, like that is just blatant. Like you said, that was just, oh no, I'm not gonna touch these black kids. Like,
right.
It's just funny to me how people make all kind of excuses. you know, for them not doing that. You know, not talking to or hugging the black kids. Like let's just call it what it is. Like the other kids that were being hugged, they weren't even as tall as the black kids. And then let's not even mention the character that walked up and knocked the little baby over. That was a
wait, hold on. Let's go back a second. I don't remember seeing that one. They knock a baby's head loose too.
Yeah, man.
He like ran up to the baby and bumped the baby on the floor.
Yeah, it was like doing this like a dance, and the belly knocked the baby down. So yeah, the character did try to help the baby up, but for everybody giving the excuse, oh, it's hard to see in those costumes, it wasn't hard when that character knocked that baby over and bent down and picked the baby up.
And then I'll even go further. They have a new one for these two little black girls. I think they were at Disneyland or Disney World. I don't know, but they was following the character Rapunzel. And
Rapunzel, now that I did hear about.
Rapunzel was talking to all, taking pictures. There was no line, so let's be clear. There was no line to take a picture or interact with Rapunzel, but she was very blatant in ignoring the two little black girls. They were running after saying, Rapunzel, what about me? What about me? And she was just walking like, I'm on my break. But then she stopped. It was doing it. And I was like, and then we need to just stop taking our black kids to these places that number one, they don't see many characters that even look like them. And then number two, they're experiencing this. Rapunzel, I'm not even gonna say nothing. Because
the ironic part is that Sesame Street was made for the black kids.
Absolutely.
That was originally for
in the black neighborhood.
Yeah. So it's like they supposed to be for us, but over the years
things change. Things get gentrified, like everything else.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Okay, if it was y'all kids and y'all were at Sesame Place and Rosalita, you know, pretty much was like, yeah, all right, forget your kid. Which like realistically, which I doing?
So I think that Rosalita would have accidentally.
Well, that's what I was finna ask too. That was gonna be my next question, because I think sometimes when you're in the situation, you don't even realize what is playing out in front of you. You see, you don't understand what I'm saying? So like Nikki said, I think there were a lot of parents who recorded the situations on their phones, but didn't even think about it until they started seeing other people post their videos, right?
But let's be clear, because the first video that came out, they were very aware about what was happening. So I'm
like
he's asking, if you were in that situation? If me personally, if I was in that situation, Rosalie or whatever the doll's name is would have accidentally fell on his face, and that's it. That's it. That's how
look. So Nikki is my spirit animal, because I guarantee you, as much as I would love to make excuses, if you pass my child up, like that whole parade about to get shut down. Like that's just about to be it. I'm knocking Rosalia out. Big Bird might get it too. Cookie Monster might catch his hands. Like because I mean, if I'm gonna take look, if I pay $75 to get in somewhere and you treat my kids like that.
Right.
Oh yeah, I'm shutting the whole thing down. Like there's not gonna be one costume left. I might leave wearing Ernie's head on my own shoulder.
I like that. I think I would give you a crown.
Nope, that'll be a hate crime, because Ernie is part of the community now.
Ernie's part of what community?
I'm part of
Ernie. Isn't Ernie orange?
Huh?
Isn't Ernie orange?
Yeah, but he's part of the rainbow. Yeah.
I'm part of the rainbow too, so you good because you with me.
Anyway,
I'm gonna carry my permission slip. Like, see, Look at this right here.
Yep. I'm done with y'all. Okay, so just to wrap this trending topic up, my last question on this particular topic is, Nikki, I did hear you mention, because I was gonna go that route too, about basically the cancel culture, right? So when you have a show or a network or whatever it is, like Disney or Sesame Street, that's so big, we were raised and grew up on these things. And we know that over time they're not for us. But when you cancel them, where do you go? What is the alternative that our kids have that may be on the same level?
I'll say this. You have sometimes, with us being Black, we always know how to turn something up. You know that they have the same type of costumes and they do our kind of dances. They come to our birthday parties and they dress up and they do things like that. You don't have to just limit your children to, oh, hi guys and stuff. It's okay to be us around us. You understand? Mm-hmm. So it's like find something local. We live in a big city. There's always something local that we can take our kids to that's equivalent to that. The only way your kids going to feel
like, what would be the equivalent to you for Disney World? Like, what's the equivalent?
Well, for Disney World, I've never been to Disney World before, so I don't know what they offer there. If they have rides and theme parks and stuff like that, I'll just take them to something. An alternative theme park or something like that.
Nikki, you never been to the most magical place on earth?
Yeah, Brooklyn.
That's Lord.
Wait, hold on. Is that the same Brooklyn where that passengers got robbed at?
Don't do it.
That same one where they ran up on that man?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. That sounds more like the most dangerous place on earth, but cool. We can go with magical if you want to feel better.
Nobody got hurt. Just jewels taken. Nobody got hurt.
See, that's it.
Anyway, I ain't even gonna touch on that. But Mr. Washington, you travel the world. What's the equivalent? Right. What is the equivalent?
So So this is the part. This is the part where you see how cancel culture can be productive in some natures, but it also leaves a huge void in others. There is no place. And that's another reason why Black people get funneled into places like this. And that's just being honest. The thing about it is if you think about it, how many people going to Gracie's Corner Playhouse if they set it up somewhere? You'll get Black folks to go because of the nature of it's Gracie Corner. But eventually, people gonna stop going to it. We want to cancel people.
Why do you figure people will stop going to Gracie's Corner?
Because it's the same issue we have in the Black community so many times. We get upset about we get upset about something, but we don't create a viable alternative for whatever reason. Period. Well, I mean that's a lot of times what winds up happening. We want to cancel something, but we oftentimes leave a void in its place, whereas we wind up having to funnel back through the similar places that we've already been through because there is no alternate. There's no alternate. Now, again, you can go to systemic racism and the fact that there's not capital available to create these places. I mean, you can write a whole book on this. But I think ultimately right now, there is no alternative to Disney World. That's specifically how it's set up. There is no alternative to a Sesame's Place. Now, again, like Nikki said, you can have the characters come to your house, and we've all seen the videos of I forgot. There were some twin clowns that come around and they do a bunch of hip hop dances. Now you have those in localized areas, but it's ultimately up to Black folks. If we're gonna cancel something, we have to not leave that vacuum in its place as well, because it does really nothing but pretty much says to us, well, crap, we got to deal with it and go back if we want to actually, want to have some experiences.
I'll say this though, just don't go. And if we don't have an alternative, we just don't go.
We don't know how to not. We don't know how to not.
You know what I'm saying?
We don't. I would agree. Because I agree with that, Tony. We don't know how to cut that off, especially for our generation. Right. It's like we grew up on that. So you want your kids to experience that. Like one of my biggest joys of going to Six Flags is now I can experience it with Kamaya. When she was little, I'm not going to Six Flags because she can't ride anything and I enjoy the rides. Same thing when we go to Disney World and Universal. That's one of my biggest joys is to be able to experience the stuff and experience it with her. It's kind of like, yeah, there's other things to do, but let's be real. A lot of stuff, whether it's Six Flags, Disney World, Universal, whitewater rafting, anything, most stuff is not catered for us. So it's like if we begin to start canceling things out, is it more so of canceling things out, or is it more so of knowing how to behave and address situations when they occur?
So here's the last thing. Here's one last thing I'll say too in regards to this. Even with the whole Sesame Street place thing, are we counseling a company for hiring the person? Or we counsel the person for actually feeling that way? I mean, you got to think about it. Some of these companies, yes, are inherently have issues. But at what point are we saying, okay, hey, are we saying one bad apple ruins the entire bunch, so we should never ever go there again? Or are we counseling that? Or are we saying to that company, hey, here's your bad apple, figure out what you're going to do from here?
Right.
Like, we have the option to not go, but also are we also given the option for redemption? That's all I'll say. Nigga look like hell no. No, we just ain't going. Like,
that is going to stay my bottom line because I'm not attached emotionally to any place that I don't feel welcome. If I don't feel welcome, I am not going to go, and I'm not going to allow my daughter to go because guess what? Back in the days, it's not like today.
Right.
And things are very much online and very accessible to finding out things in real time. And I am just not emotionally attached to any place that doesn't suit me or suits my kid. Period.
But I mean, that at the end of the day, is there a redemption option, or is it just once something bad happens, it's never going to be the same ever again?
I won't be there to find out.
Because there's a lot of things, if we being real, there's a lot of things in local places, local stores, local restaurants, local businesses. You might have a bad experience this one time because of this, like you say, this one particular employee. But all of these years, your experience has been pleasant. So if I go to my same chicken wing spot all the time and I'm satisfied all the time, but then this one time they have this nasty cashier in there, do I now stop going to this?
I think that's a difference because you're dealing with not just, you're talking about the Sesame place. And a lot of kids go there. So many people started sharing similar experiences.
Right.
So there's an issue there. It's not like just you go to the chicken spot and a new girl start working there. She got her ass on her shoulder and she's just having a bad day. So she projects it on you. That's a difference because you're not going to post that online and everybody's going to be like, yeah, we're going to boycott them. That's a totally different type of scenario. And I don't think it's not, it even compares to each other.
And the biggest difference is you're an adult. Like, these are core memories that these children are gonna live with for the rest of their life. You know Absolutely. What I'm saying? Like that, you have no idea how this situation is going to affect. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Man.
All right. You done? You had something else, Mr. Washington?
No. I'm just so sad to see Sesame Seed. I'm so sad at the fact that we had now we got burned Sesame Seed place down to the fucking ground. I'm just so sad to see that at this point.
The street is still full. The street is cool. It's the place that we got to shut down.
It's the place.
Hold on, where?
Sesame Place and Sesame Street are two different things.
They're two separate.
No, they all gotta go. They all gotta go. All them gotta go. I'm talking about from Rooter to the Tutor. Burn it to the ground.
As a matter of fact, get rid of Sesame Seed buns.
Bingo.
No more Sesame Seed buns.
Golly, we just canceled the whole Sesame. Anything with Sesame.
Sesame seed chicken.
Oh man! No, come on, y'all. We gotta cancel the cancel culture. We can't go that far. You draw the line at the chicken. You draw the line at the chicken. All right, so
I love me some sesame chicken.
Real quick,
look, see
that we had was the photo that Tony posted in the group with the father kissing the daughter in the mouth. You
are giving it a very strong. If we was in court, I would.
No, this would be definitely a big objection.
Exactly.
The way that Nikki feels about this Sesame place is how I feel about this kiss. It was way too passionate, way too intimate. She was holding her father by the head. I don't know. Find it for me, Tony, because
I got it. Hold on. Let's see.
I ain't rocking with it. I ain't rocking with it. She kissed him. You kiss your boyfriend.
Okay, so
here you go. Oh.
So this is the controversial picture right here.
Okay, so I don't have daughters, and this is why I'm so glad I don't. This is one of those days.
You've had a stepdaughter.
I mean, I've had a couple of them. So I am stepdaddy of the year. So you know, Lawrence love the kids.
Runner up.
What'd you say, Tony?
Runner up.
To me, it's awkward. It's a very awkward situation. I think that we have to be careful about how we're applying adult principles to children.
Yes.
That's the only thing I will say, because from an adult's eyes, and of course, adults are obviously the ones judging this picture, and they're the ones who have the biggest opinion. It may look like something crazy. Now, the whole hand behind the head thing, it's kind of awkward. I don't know, like if I would have been, I don't know if I would have been a dad to be like, yeah, that's cool. But we also, we just have to be careful about saying, hey, this was too adult in nature. That's just me.
I'm not being careful.
My response
hold on. I'm not being careful because I don't care if you think that is something. Now, I'm not even talking about the mouth part, the kissing in the mouth, because I grew up in New York. I grew up in Brooklyn. I've seen many people from a lot of different cultures, and they kiss each other in the mouth. Boy, the father kissed the son, the father kissed the daughter, and vice versa. I've seen all of that. The hand behind the head is what makes it intimate, and it's what makes it
inappropriate.
Very inappropriate.
Okay.
So this is my thing on it, and I see people kind of say along the lines of what you're saying, Lawrence, is that we as adults over sexualize things. But my thing is, when you're an adult, you have to be able to have something in place to identify relationships, right? So some things I get people say, oh, we over sexualize, but some things when you see two people doing it together, you know automatically there's an intimate relationship. And the hand behind the head is something that two people in an intimate relationship do. And then on top of that, you have so many instances where people aren't doing right by their kids, and it just raises too many flags. Like,
okay, so did anybody ever verify the age of the girl to make sure she's not a little person?
No, I think
I asked the same thing.
I think she's 10. I think they're going. I think because I actually went to the real thread, and I think they said in the thread that she was 10.
Okay.
My question is this. So what if it's two hands wrapped around his neck?
The thing is that we can do what ifs on a lot of situations.
No,
We're talking about
no, wait.
We
Because this is what I'm trying to. This
like,
is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Like, let's say that she had both her hands, daddy, kiss, right? And the person taking the pictures that put your hand down so we can see. And that's the picture that we got.
For me, and I understand that in different cultures, the kissing on the mouth is a thing. To each their own. To me, I ain't doing it. My child kissed me one time in the mouth, and it was very uncomfortable for me. So the whole even for, and I'm just saying for me, without the hand, it is still too much for me because I feel like that is something that I do with someone that I'm intimate with.
And I can dig that. It's just I've seen it, and I'm very comfortable with seeing people with different cultures do it. It's like really no big deal to me. But this particular picture with her grabbing him behind the head, like let's just say it happened the way Tony said, and she moved her arm. Like why post it? It was posted for a reaction because they knew ain't nobody dumb.
They probably would have been like me and saw nothing wrong with it because I still don't see nothing. I understand.
Okay, so
I don't see
if you don't see nothing wrong with that, then that got me. My antennas up with you because that's weird as fuck. Like it's weird.
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's awkward at the least. It's disturbing at its best. So I think at the end of the day, this is the reason why we have the topic for today. This is exactly the reason why we asked, well, how far is too far at this point? Because at this point, no matter what the situation is, me personally, I've had to learn to stop buying into this foolishness that we see on social media. Because my first question is who mama and they right mind say, you know what? That's my baby. Yes. Let me go post this picture. And think everybody in this world gonna think that this is okay. Period. Because I'm sure she said it to her grandmama, and her grandmama was like, "Baby, go get the switch." Yeah, I'm beating all y'all for this.
That need to come down. So
that's how y'all think. That doesn't mean that it's the right way. That's the end all be all. Like they don't like y'all making it seem like there's something wrong with anybody that doesn't have a problem with this though. Like no.
I hardly said to each their own. I whatever you feel that's how you feel. I'm saying for me, just for me, I can only speak for me. And I've had my child do it. I don't know if she did it on accident or if she was trying to see how it felt because she's seen other kids kiss their parents in the mouth. I don't know what it was, but it was just uncomfortable for me. Like, I need a way to be able to distinguish my love for my daughter and my intimate love with somebody else. And that kiss.
I mean. Okay, let's go back a second because there's a very clear way to establish intimacy between those two situations while a kiss on the cheek not even making the top 50 of that list.
I'm just saying, a kiss in the mouth is an intimate. For me, it is an intimate act. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so
nobody for feeling how they feel, or if you feel it's acceptable, hey, that's on you. Go ahead.
Let me ask a follow-up question real quick. Let me throw this follow-up question out there real quick, and I'll start with you, Morgan. When was the last time you felt comfortable enough to kiss your child on their mouth?
Never.
What about you, Nikki?
I don't kiss my daughter in her mouth.
You said what?
I don't kiss my daughter in her mouth.
Okay, what about you, Tony?
I don't kiss my son in my mouth, but I mean, it never occurred to me to not, like, if I did, there would be something wrong with it.
So I think the last time I can remember I think the last time I can even remember that remotely happened, I think my child was a baby. And I was throwing him up in the air and kissing him when I caught him, and play that little game with him. I am just of the mindset, whereas I get Nikki and I get Morgan, but I also get Tony. Like I can see the circle effect of things where we say, okay, all right, well, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But I also can see I can be like, yeah, that's kind of weird. Like somebody might want to call CPS just to make sure, we keep just one extra eye on these people just to make sure, because at the end of the day, the world we live in is a very crazy world. Like we got Disney we got Disney characters who don't want to talk to black kids. We got to cancel Sesame Sea Wings and Sesame Sea Place and Sesame Street, and now we got this. Like this is crazy. It's the world we live in at this point. You just never know what to expect and who we're gonna have to cancel next. Right. Matter of fact, what brand is her shirt? Because we need to write to them too.
She got on the Adidas. It looked like she got on the Adidas shorts.
I think you explained it perfectly, Lawrence. Like I think, and I guess that's why I feel so uncomfortable with it, is because, like you said, you never know. You never know. Like there's been plenty of cases where there were some signs that people feel like they should have seen with a child that's being molested. And I'm not in any way saying that that's what this is resembling. I'm just saying that there have been situations where families have missed the signs. And later on, these kids grow up and say, this XYZ happened to me. And I just feel like in some certain cases, that may be a sign. How do you know?
That's true. Like but also plot twist. What if the dude had Benjamin Button disease? What if he was really 7?
Man, and we didn't know. Move on, because I'm not doing this with you.
You playing this?
No, I'm done. Anyway, so that just rolls us right on over into the topic for today. How far is too far for social media, and how far are you willing to allow your kids to go for social media fame? So before we jump in and dive into this, Tony, with you having the youngest child out of the 4 of us, at what age do you think you will allow your child to begin experiencing social media?
In what way? Like as a creator or as like a consumer?
Both.
Honestly, as a creator, I know people who have. I look at Ryan. There's a kid, Ryan's World. He started his channel when he was 3.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow!
And I want to say he's like 9 now, and he's a multi-millionaire. He has a old toy line. He just play with toys.
He plays with toys. He plays with toys all damn day. And these kids flock to that channel like it's nothing in this world. It's absolutely crazy. But please continue, Tony. I'm sorry.
You good?
I need to go watch Ryan's World. Okay.
That came from a place. But but yeah, like as long as it's a situation where both me and his mother agree on it. As far as him creating content, like as early as possible, because that you don't know where that can take him, especially nowadays. But as far as being on social media, I think he needs to be at least a teenager. Like I think at least 13.
So Lawrence, I know you have a child that's old enough to experience social media. Mr. Raspy, I love him so much. And
as she insults my child, she says she loves him so much. Like
I do love him. I love him so much. He's sweeter than you. I don't. Anyway.
Wait. Give him about 20. Give him about 20 years of life experience. I guarantee you, he'll be right. He'll be right there with me.
Oh Jesus, I pray not. Anyway, what age did you begin to allow him to get on social media?
Man, look, I was very reluctant. My son is 11. I think my son, within the last year, has gotten his own TikTok and his own. So he has TikTok and he has Instagram now. Mm-hmm. I hate it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I absolutely hate it. Because it opens up a world that no matter what parental controls you have on your phone, no matter how much monitoring you can do, people slip through peepholes. Like I have to you generally say at least every week, but even on a random surprise basis, I have to go through his friend list and the thing and the content he's watched just to make sure that there's not something weird and crazy out there. Like I've seen my son get some weird DMs in his Instagram inbox. And so Instagram doesn't, for those who don't know, Instagram doesn't necessarily have parental controls. They don't.
Right.
So
Facebook, correct?
Yeah. So I have the ability to go in and see who has added him, and I have the ability to go in and see his inbox, but I can't necessarily filter. There's not a banner that comes up when you go to my son's page that you can put on there that says my son is only 11 years old.
Right.
So it's nerve-wracking a lot of times because I just don't know what my son gonna get into. Now, again, I love my son. My son's a dork. So I don't really think he's gonna get into too much in life. However, I'm gonna be honest. Like my son is of that age where, like, for instance, last year I caught him watching porn.
Yeah.
So
I remember that.
You said what?
I remember that, and it was anime, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was anime.
Yeah.
He first of all exactly, Nikki. Let me tell you, I gotta tell y'all this story real quick. So my son does that classic move when you're doing some shit that you ain't supposed to be doing. I walk in a room, he slams the laptop shut. Now, we all know the minute you turn something over, turn something off, close something, and your parents are walking in the door, what's the next thing? What was you doing?
Right.
He gonna tell me, oh, well, I was just trying to go to sleep. All right, bruh. Like, all right, cool. Let me see what you had open on the laptop. No, it's broken. It don't work no more. What? So when was you planning on telling me that you broke my computer? No, I didn't break it. It's just the battery died. Bruh, turn the laptop back on. Like, and like when he opened it back up, I was like, why you lie about this, homie?
At least you
know
it's okay. Not a good liar.
But my son gets that from me. We're not the best liars on earth. Like we will come up with it. I will come up with an extravagant story. I will kill off a couple family members I need to make a story work.
I'm done.
Damn.
I'm done. All right, so Nikki, I pose this question to you because I know you have your kids have a big age gap, age difference. So what kind of social media was around for your older kids?
Okay, so the older boys, I know that I was buying them they had cell phones. I can't remember if they were online then, but I know they were online, but I think they had the PlayStation game that went online and they used to talk to people.
Oh yeah, PS3.
But I didn't know that until one time I came in the house and I heard my son, I never heard him curse, and he was cursing out somebody, and I thought somebody was in my house, and he's like, I was talking on the game. I said, what do you mean you was talking on the game? Who you talking to on the game? And he's like, oh, I'm talking to somebody. They said my mother, they was talking about you, so I was cursing them out. And I'm like, how do you know these people? Who are these people? He's like, Mom, I don't know these people. I guess it's the game. I didn't know I was buying them. They would tell me exactly what model they wanted, and I would just buy it. I had no clue that they had access. However, I will say that at night, they would bring their phones in my room, put the phone on the charger, and they would get it when they go to school the next day. They never had their phone overnight. But I think they were in like chat rooms and stuff. This was like in the mid 2000s. So I think they may have had Facebook too.
Yeah.
Or Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but I didn't really have a big issue with them being online and stuff. Now that I know that they tell me stuff now that they're big and grown about the stuff that they was into, and I had no clue.
Right.
As far as my daughter, who's 10, she, I didn't give her a cell phone, but she has an iPad, which has online no matter where she goes. She has the cellular data. And with her being around other girls, now that she's in dance class and they had like a lot of idle time, she was pretty much subjected to what other girls were doing. And then she tried to download apps and talk to random people and just it was a lot of things on her computer that shouldn't have been on her laptop, not the laptop, tablet that shouldn't have been. And she knew better than to download these text apps and Roblox, whatever. And all of this stuff. Like, and then I actually seen some guy ask her what's her Snapchat. Her Snapchat is only me, her aunt, and her other mother. That's it. Now this other guy, she done gave the snap. She's like, well, I thought it was a kid. I don't care who you thought it was. And that's the problem. And he went directly to her inbox on Snapchat and said, hey, how you doing? Show me some pics. Like, bruh, like, what you doing? So
right. She's not a child. When you look at her in statute, she is not a child where you could misjudge her age. Like, you're not going to look at her.
She doesn't have any pictures anywhere of herself. It's just a screen, and they make these little doll characters of themselves.
Oh, okay, got you.
On this particular app, so it wasn't like like Facebook or anything.
It's a picture, right?
Yeah, so it wasn't her photos, but I was very concerned because not only was she introduced to this by younger girls than her, but it's giving them too much
power control
to things that they shouldn't have access to, and they're kids. Right. They're kids, and yes, for the Facebook user, yes, it's extremely scary because this is how kids get trafficked. It was a girl in Conyers that met somebody on Roblox. He came to her house and picked her up and took her to several states away.
Damn,
he's in jail, but still. These kids, and this girl was like 13 or 14 years old. She was missing for like a week or two. And they found her in a whole different state. And he came all the way because he was talking to her on Roblox. I hope I'm saying it right.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. And
I had to explain to my daughter, I'm like, listen, they can track where your location is right now. You're putting yourself in danger. You're putting us in danger. Because these people are out here, they that's what they do all day is go online and see who's going to be vulnerable enough to get your information. So that's a dub. She, she does have TikTok, she does have Instagram, and it's run by me and her other mother, and that's it. I will create the content, or I will post the content and things like that. But she has no access to just being on TikTok and scrolling and seeing all that crazy stuff. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
that's good.
So my daughter, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she was 10, and I want to say that was around the time she got her first phone.
Yeah, you bought her that brand new spanking out the box phone.
That's right. Look? That's right. She wanted an iPhone. She got an iPhone, so that's what she got. And I think that was at 10 years old. And even then, some things I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want you on this. I didn't want her on anything, to be honest. I didn't want her on anything. And I think gradually, like you said, Nikki, she was around some other kids. And it was the thing to do. So it was like, they were having conversations about things. And it's like, if you weren't on these social media platforms, then you basically couldn't have a conversation because you didn't know what was going on. Back like when we were growing up, if you didn't see the movie and that's what everybody's talking about, it's like, okay, well, what are you kind of, what are you giving into the conversation? So I gave in, and I allowed her to get different things. I think the first thing was Snapchat, and I was okay with Snapchat because I think after 24 hours, everything deletes, and it just gradually became
that's actually dangerous because you can't.
Right, it's all dangerous. I think the only thing that she is not on now is Facebook. It looks like Snapchat has kind of faded out. she doesn't have a Twitter, but so she's on Instagram and TikTok. So I noticed that a lot of things, and I did tell her too, a lot of things with her emotions have kind of changed. I've seen that a lot, where social media is influencing so much that she believes, you can tell that in her behavior or in her actions or in her emotions, that she feels that life is supposed to be a certain kind of way. And I'm like, bruh, no, that's all smoke and mirrors. Like, social media don't give you the real live content. And if I learned this on TikTok one more time.
TikTok is the new YouTube.
I see.
So, okay, so here's the one thing I will point out. I want to point out really quickly. From the biggest thing I see when it comes to the difference in these things, y'all have girls, and it is a scarier world out here when it comes to girls.
Yeah,
it is. I like my son when it comes to Instagram and his, because my son has allow him to post little recipes and the things that he make on TikTok. It's scary. I could not imagine having a daughter. I guarantee my daughter would live in a bubble in the back of the closet for most of her life. Because even with my son, I have to have conversations with him about being mindful of his environment and the things surrounding him. I cannot imagine having a daughter and also having to go in that conversation and say that there are men out here who are going to specifically prey on you. Regardless of what the situation is. Like, I asked my son the other day if he had a girlfriend. He was like, Daddy, I don't like eating broccoli. So it is one of those things where it also, a lot of it just depends on the mindset of a child. But females and little girls are just so much in peril when it comes to the pitfalls that are social media. It's crazy to me.
So I will 100% agree, Lawrence. With my daughter, we have this conversation all the time. And it's not just social media. It's with anything. When she goes outside, when she goes to other people's homes, when she's trying to pick out an outfit, anything, because there are predators, and yes, predators, they prey on boys too, but girls, it's like, and I hate that it's like that, it's just, you have to be more mindful of what you're doing, your surroundings, how you're behaving, what you're showing, what you're not showing, because predators don't care how old you are. If they want what they want and they see what they see things that they like that they shouldn't necessarily like, I don't know, but I have that conversation with her all the time, and I have the same conversation that you have with your daughter, Nikki, is you don't know these people. It was one time she was talking to somebody. I'm like, well, where do you know them from? And she's like, oh, I think they go to my school. You think? How do you think? Don't you go to the same school too? How you not know what school they go to? Well, I think they go to school together. Okay, did you verify this? Have you seen them in their school uniform? Have you seen them in a field day something? Or because these boys now, they sound like grown men. And you cannot tell where they come from. I've literally heard her on the phone with some boys that go to her school, and they sound like grown men.
Yeah, they be like, hey, Kamaya. I'm like, get off the phone. No, I need to see an ID.
Where did you come from?
And just so y'all clear as well, as far as like the whole predatory behavior with men against young girls and stuff, they also have kids. Right. Luring them and befriending them. Hey, why don't you come over to my house? Hey, why don't you come to this park? hey, tell your mom to do XYZ. They have kids doing it, and they have females doing it. Because it's more trusting for a kid, and it's more trusting if a female is approach your child, not a man. You know what I'm saying? So gotta be real, vigilant about that. But we got a Facebook question. Says, I don't know if y'all be answering questions, but I'm gonna shoot my shot. Do y'all believe certain sites is just too grown? Oh, it's Christian.
Okay, first of all, I'm not answering. First of all, I'm not answering the question just because it's Christian.
Oh, don't do my friend like that.
To answer her question,
I think they all are. Go ahead.
Right. No, I think we was on the same page. I think the user may make it what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's more. There's more young people on Snapchat, so. They're like the adults that are on Snapchat. They there for the young people, basically. Like
I'm there for the filters. So
I've heard that too. Actually, I heard that their filters is way better than Instagram.
Yeah, I like their filters.
Right.
So one thing I do want to point out when we sit here and we say which websites are too grown. Most, if not all, these websites actually have a minimum age of usage.
They do,
and even though nobody pays attention to those, most of them have a minimum age of usage. I think, if I'm not mistaken, on Facebook, I think it's 15. Instagram is 13. So a lot of these places do indicate, hey, we don't really want you being here if you're under a certain age. However, with all that being said, absolutely, I definitely do think there's some sites that are just absolutely too grown for children to be on, like Pornhub. Children shouldn't be there.
Let me just say this: if you log on to the World Wide Web, as far as it being too grown, it depends on your child's maturity. However, I will say that you can go to the very most child-friendly app or Facebook page, not Facebook page, website, and there are people that are predators that will infiltrate those websites with the whole purpose of trying to groom kids. They will act like a child to gain their trust. So is it too grown? I just think anything on the web, on the World Wide Web, your kid has access to it. They have a chance of being crossed by anybody that doesn't mean them any good.
So I guess my question would then be, do we keep our kids off the internet? Like, what do we do at this point in time to, whereas, because we all know, as much as we love our kids, they aren't always as smart as apples in the tree. So, like, at what point in time, like, are we saying, hey, you know what? Let's unplug the internet. They can. We all know. I have my mama's old encyclopedia books at the house.
Wow.
So, like, are we going to go backwards to the point where we tell the kids, okay, hey, here's an encyclopedia. Let's go to the library. Let's go. Like, let's actually go physically places to find out the information. Or, like, how do we protect our kids at that point?
Right. Well, I tell you what I do. I took the tablet from my daughter. She had the messenger for kids. I'm able to see anybody she adds, any requests, any links that anybody sends her, and it's only family that can talk to her through that messenger kids. It's not Facebook. She doesn't have a Facebook page. She just has the messenger for kids, and I'm able to see anything that she's doing at any time. That's one. And number two, the whole Snapchat thing. She went to another website. She gave somebody her Snapchat name, which she shouldn't have done. She knew she was wrong, and that's why she doesn't have her tablet. But now I'm buckling down, and I'm allowing her to see whatever she needs to see in front of us. And that's just what I plan to do going forward after seeing her talking to strangers. And that's what I never wanted at 10. And she won't have a phone. She won't have a cell phone. She just won't have that type of access like she's had. But she's very much fine with not having that access, because she can entertain herself with everything else in the house.
So I'm gonna pivot back to our original question. So how far do you all believe is too far for social media? Whether or not, and we're not just talking about kids at this for this particular question, I mean overall. So this question actually stemmed from the other week's episode where the young lady did the whole skit about throwing the McDonald's out. How far would you go? Is especially as a content creator, I understand that sometimes you have to push the envelope just a little bit, but I think a lot of people's dismay with that particular video was that she wasted money on the food. So, Tony, with you being a content creator, and you do it across multiple platforms and for multiple subjects, how far are you willing to go?
Not far. Like I'm not trying to gain clout or followers from controversy. You know what I'm saying? Like I just want my talent and my skills to build my audience, not some one viral video over some BS that you won't even be able to sustain yourself from in the long term.
Right. I had a viral video one time, and people come to my TikTok page, and I've had people ask me, "Can you post something for me on your page?" And I'm like,
exactly.
I'm literally nobody. I just posted a funny video, and I didn't know it was going to go viral like it did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's not all that.
Right. Going viral ain't what people think it is.
Right.
So, Lawrence, what about you? I know that you also have another podcast that you are working on and that you're developing. How far are you willing to go for the notoriety for your podcast? How far are you willing to go? Where's the line?
I ain't going nowhere but the McDonald's. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I wish we lived in a world where kids didn't even get involved in social media. Like, I remember when Facebook came out, and I don't know, y'all might be too young to remember this, but when Facebook first came out. Well, okay, I forgot. Nikki, I
want to stay young. I'll take that.
Okay. Anyway, when Facebook first came out, y'all remember you had to have a college email address in order to get access to Facebook.
Mm-hmm. I remember that because I was in college.
I didn't even use it. I didn't know that. I didn't get on Facebook till I don't even know.
Yeah, when Facebook first came out, you had to have a college email address, and it had to verify you through that email address before you can even finish the sign up process.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, obviously as the world becomes bigger, you got corporate people chasing dollars. I hate the fact that children have even really kind of gotten involved in this, because we have created a de facto world where we as parents have to be 2 steps ahead of children who are already slicker than a can of oil on a best day. Mm-hmm. And so it is one of those things where, me personally, I'm not going to go too far. Like, it's one of those things for, I'd rather be normal than to be famous. If that means at the end of the day, I don't have to create this unnecessary buzz around myself.
Right. So let me ask y'all this, because I know for me growing up, it was MySpace and Black Planet.
Mm-hmm.
We had no business being on Black Planet.
Okay, so why were you on Black Planet though, Morgan? Let's talk about that though.
I was on Black Planet.
I don't know. I love the fact that you could make your own little intro. You make your little videos. That was like
your top friends. Don't forget your top friends.
Right. But I still, do you all, if you can recall, because I can't really recall, which one do you all think is more racy? The Black things Planet? That we have now? You think Black Planet was racy?
Back then, it was.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You hold on, Morgan. Morgan, have you really? Did you really explore Black Planet? Because I remember my mama quote me that first of all, Black Planet was how I found out about BET Uncut.
Okay.
Like as a kid, kids love on clicking on random stuff just to see where it goes. So yeah, I mean, like Black Planet was definitely a lot more racy than MySpace. Now again, MySpace had its own little black holes in itself, but you were less likely to interact with anybody besides that.
Well, maybe I just scratched the surface. I don't know. Maybe I just scratched the surface.
Well, Morgan, you also took a bath in holy water every night, so like we understand.
Wait, is that an old people joke?
Yes, exactly.
You know what? Whatever. I ain't even gonna address that, Mr. Washington.
Whatever. Take me to the River Jordan here.
Oh, you know what? That's fine. The Lord is on my side, and that is fine.
Take me to the boat.
Knowing that He has my back. Anyway, so for kids, how far do you think is too far for kids when they are content creators? I know for adults, it's a little easier. Like, for instance, this podcast, it's a little easier for us to have podcasts as an adult because we've lived a little, right? We've experienced different things. So we have different topics that we can have conversations about. And then we're watching our kids grow up. But kids, they don't necessarily have those experiences. So when it comes to creating content to talk about or post, where do you think the line should be drawn?
Nikki?
Well, I can tell you what I plan on doing with my daughter's social media. She wants to make a YouTube channel. She wants to be an influencer. She wants to model. She wants to do that. She's very outspoken. She's not shy to do things. So what I plan on doing with that is I'm going to do the content. I'm going to create the content. She knows how to make movies and stuff like that. So she'll be able to create the actual whatever's going to go on YouTube. However, I'm going to do the posting, and I will share with her because she actually has some messages like, congratulations, you've been chosen as a winner for $750. And she got excited, like, mommy, look, I won. And I'm like, that's spam. So you have to teach them about what's real, what isn't real, until they're to the point where it's like, okay, if you make a mistake and you give information and you get hacked or whatever, then now it's your fault. But now I'm just trying to teach her the fundamentals before I give her the full here. You ride the horse now. I'm done. I showed you how to do it. So I'm not allowing her to have access to things fully yet.
All right. And so for Lawrence and Tony, just before we wrap it up, how far is too far, or where should the line be drawn when we are talking about kid or children entertainers or social media content creators?
Go ahead, Tony.
I think that those when you're doing stuff that could harm yourself in the long run, I feel like that would be the line that needs to be drawn. Like if you're doing stuff just for clickbait, just for just to trying to go viral. Like trying to go viral is what like really be killing a lot of people out here. So like just make sure like just if this is what you really want to do, if this is your passion, then do it consistently, and then you're gonna reap the rewards from it eventually. It ain't no microwave. It ain't no one overnight success, because even the people that do become famous overnight, they fall off very quick. So just
true, because it's not a passion.
Correct.
Right. That's well put, Tony. Mr. Washington, you got anything on that?
Yeah, my mama always used to tell me, stay in the kid place. Like
your country ass.
My mama too, man.
Like I look at certain situations and I look at the aspect of, is this, if I see a kid posting something, my first question is this in the kid's place? Like, I'm not going to go to a 10-year-old on reviewing the next Tesla model that comes out. So there's a time and a place for kids. Like, I think that ultimately, like my son, he used to love watching kids review other toys. I didn't have a problem with that. I don't. But no matter what the situation is, I think it's up to us as parents, ultimately, at the end of the day, to really be those gatekeepers. Yeah. Because we cannot let our kids out in the world that has humans in it. Because no matter what the situation is, if there's a human, there's gonna be a white van. And that white van is probably not gonna have any windows. Right. And so whenever that is the case, you just gotta be more mindful of that. Because at the end of the day, I would hate to have to blow up Sesame Seed Place along with a lot of other places and McDonald's because they acting crazy.
Wait,
that's all it is.
McDonald's ain't doing.
They got all them Sesame Seed buns up in there.
Do you know how many Sesame Seed buns come on a Big Mac?
Big Mac?
They got to go.
Nobody eats the Big Macs no more.
Man, that's a lie. I eat a Big Mac. But
actually, hold on. Isn't that what OJ Simpson had when he came out of jail?
You know what?
R. Kelly's last meal before he turned himself in was also a Big Mac. So at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, if you draw the line to the X from one to another, I'm pretty sure R. Kelly used to perform at Sesame Seed Place. So boom, they all gotta go. Just cancel everybody.
All right, so as we wrap this up, we've talked about a lot today. And for these final thoughts, I think we all nailed it on the head. As a parent, you just have to be conscious of what your kids are doing. Like you said, Lawrence, you have to be the gatekeeper, not only for their physical safety, but in my case, their mental stability as well. Absolutely. As far as how far is too far for content, I think Tony hit it on the head. It has to be a passion. Anything that's going to jeopardize or stunt your growth because you're just trying to do too much as a child will be an absolute no-go. So as parents, we just all gonna keep.
Look, we got a Big Mac eater.
I eat Big Macs too, so I don't know what they talking about, girl. But yeah.
Wait, hold on. Is that somebody's wife?
That's my wife.
Nikki's wife. It is.
You canceled. You're
canceled. Cancel them.
She got. I'm gonna scrape the sesame seeds off.
Oh my goodness!
So you gonna whitewash our history at that point? Cancel them. Get them out of here. Get him out of here.
Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode. We missed y'all last week, but thank you so much for tuning back into another episode of I Love My Kids. But again, I am your host, Morgan. With me today is Miss Nikki, Mr. Washington, and my guy, Tony P. Check us out on Tony P Does Vibes, and we'll see you next Sunday at 6:15 p.m. What the music, Tony? Tony ain't never got the music.
I wasn't.
Oh, we just gonna go with Lawrence. We just gonna go with. All right, y'all.
Whoa. Can we shut the podcast off now? Look at Tony. See, they got them faces.
Great show.
Oh man, thanks, Nate. We can't jam to this.
Wait, the beat got to drop. Later, y'all.
It is going to be. You'll be able to see the whole video. Check us out.
Hey.